I always believed that love, when it was real, was supposed to feel safe. I believed it was supposed to make the world feel quieter, softer, more predictable. I believed that after years of being judged for my skin, my background, my family, and my worth, I had finally found the one person who saw me as equal. The man I trusted with my heart, my future, and my dignity was the same man who would unknowingly destroy all of it with a single careless moment, frozen forever inside a photograph I was never meant to see. The night I found that photo started like any other ordinary night. My fiancé was away at his bachelor party, a weekend getaway with his friends before our wedding. I stayed behind, surrounded by wedding plans, unopened gifts, and dreams that felt more real than ever. I was folding invitation cards when my phone vibrated on the table. I barely paid attention at first. Then another vibration came. And another. A message notification from a mutual friend who rarely ever texted me. Something in my chest tightened before I even opened it. There was no explanation attached. Just a single image waiting behind the screen. I opened my phone casually, unaware that my entire reality was about to be rewritten. And then I saw it. My fiancé, standing in the center of a crowded hotel room, drinking, laughing, surrounded by women I had never seen before. One woman stood closer than the rest. Her hand was on his chest. His arm was wrapped loosely around her waist. They were both smiling, the kind of smile that carries intimacy, familiarity, and intention. The timestamp burned at the bottom of the image, taken less than 10 minutes earlier. My fingers went cold. My throat locked. My heart didn't shatter instantly. It froze first, as if my body needed time to understand what my mind already had. But the pain didn't end with betrayal alone. That photo led me to a slow, ugly discovery that cut far deeper than cheating. Because what shattered me the most was not just that he touched someone else. It was what he said when he thought I would never hear it. What I uncovered over the next few hours showed me that the man I planned to marry never truly saw me as human in the way I believed. To him, I had been a phase, a rebellion, a secret experiment against his family's expectations. Behind closed doors with his friends, I was reduced to a stereotype, a joke, a gamble he planned to eventually walk away from once he got everything he wanted. By the time the sun rose the next morning, I had already seen the messages. Screenshots sent anonymously. Group chats filled with laughter about how his family would never accept someone like me long-term. Messages where he bragged about how easy it was to make me believe in a future he never intended to fully honor. Words dripping with entitlement, cultural superiority, and quiet racism disguised as jokes. I sat on my bed, phone shaking in my hands, surrounded by wedding decorations that now looked like lies made of paper and ribbon. For years, I had worked twice as hard for half the validation. I had learned to shrink my accent when speaking. I had learned to dress in ways that wouldn't draw unwanted assumptions. I had learned to smile when people praised me for being different from the others. And the man I loved had watched me carry that burden silently, while privately profiting from the control it gave him. He let me struggle to feel worthy because it made him feel powerful. The rising tension didn't come from anger at first. It came from humiliation. From realizing that I had been the only one truly vulnerable in a relationship built on imbalance. My friends, my family, even strangers saw it before I did. I had defended him for years when people questioned his intentions. I ignored the way his parents looked at me during dinners. I ignored the way his friends spoke about women like me when they thought I was out of earshot. I convinced myself that love would be enough to overpower quiet prejudice. I was wrong. The days that followed were heavy with silence. He came back from his trip glowing with excitement about the wedding, unaware that every word he spoke felt like a lie pressed against my skin. I watched him move freely through our shared space while I carried the weight of what I knew alone. I didn't confront him. Not yet. Because the deeper I looked, the more I realized that this wasn't just a moment of cheating. This was his pattern. His entitlement. His belief that I existed for his convenience, not as his equal. The real injustice wasn't the betrayal of his body. It was the betrayal of my humanity. He presented himself as progressive in public, celebrated our relationship when it made him look open-minded, and used me as proof of how evolved he was. But behind closed doors, I was a compromise. A placeholder. A fantasy with an expiration date. When I finally did confront him, his reaction sealed everything. There was no accountability. No real remorse. Only excuses wrapped in charm. He dismissed the racism as harmless talk. He brushed off the cheating as meaningless fun. He treated my pain like an inconvenience that interrupted his plans. In that moment, the love I once felt turned into something colder and far sharper. I realized something fundamental had shifted inside me. I was done begging for dignity. The climax of this story did not come in the form of shouting or dramatic exits. It came in preparation. Quiet, calculated, patient preparation. I didn't cancel the wedding immediately. I let it continue. I watched him as he grew more confident, thinking he had escaped consequence yet again. I let him believe the storm had passed when in reality, it was only gathering strength behind my silence. With the help of those screenshots and messages, I documented everything. I gathered proof of his cheating, his deception, and the degrading language that exposed exactly who he was behind his curated image. I made sure nothing could be denied or twisted when the time came. I didn't seek revenge through destruction. I sought it through truth. On the day of our engagement party, with both families present, with his friends laughing and celebrating the man they believed they knew, everything changed. The room was decorated beautifully. Music played softly. Glasses clinked with celebration. He stood at my side, proud and confident, unaware of what the next few minutes would cost him. I took the microphone with steady hands and a calm breath. I didn't expose him with rage. I exposed him with clarity. Without raising my voice, I revealed the photo. I revealed the messages. I revealed the plans he made behind my back to abandon me once the excitement faded. I revealed the private jokes that stripped me of dignity based on my race and background. Every word I spoke was backed by evidence, by timestamps, by patterns, by his own voice mirrored back at him. The room didn't erupt into chaos right away. It fell into something worse. Silence. The kind of silence that swallows reputation whole. His face lost all color. His friends couldn't look at him. His parents sat frozen, forced to confront what they had indirectly enabled. The man who once controlled the narrative stood exposed, stripped of charm, stripped of excuses, stripped down to the truth he worked so hard to hide. That moment wasn't loud. It was devastating in the quietest way possible. And then I walked away. I didn't wait for apologies. I didn't wait for explanations. I didn't wait for closure. Because closure, I learned, doesn't come from them. It comes from choosing yourself without hesitation. The resolution didn't arrive instantly. Healing never does. There were nights when the loneliness felt unbearable. There were mornings when I questioned my own worth all over again. But something had changed permanently. I no longer felt invisible. I no longer needed to reduce myself to fit into someone else's comfort. I had confronted not only betrayal, but the deep root of how easily society excuses disrespect when it comes wrapped in charm and privilege. Months later, I learned what happened to him. His job suffered. His social circle shrank. The image he built collapsed under the weight of his own behavior. No dramatic destruction. Just consequences, slow and certain, following him into the life he thought he could manipulate without cost. And me? I rebuilt quietly. I chose peace, not bitterness. I chose dignity over explanation. I chose to live without shrinking my voice or my identity for anyone's comfort. I learned that love without respect is not love at all. It's possession disguised as affection. We spend so much of our lives trying to prove that we are worthy of being chosen. But the truth is, the moment you have to beg someone to see your humanity, you are already choosing the wrong person. Betrayal hurts deeply, but betrayal mixed with racial prejudice cuts even deeper because it attacks not just your heart, but your very right to belong. If one photograph could destroy a lie that took years to build, imagine what truth can do when you stop protecting the people who hurt you. And that is the lesson I carry forward now. Not all revenge is loud. Sometimes the most powerful kind is simply refusing to be silent ever again.